Hello and welcome to Black Box Trading. I'm your host JT, and this is the channel you come to for no nonsense crypto fundamentals and technicals. This is the live stream. This is a technical show. We may dive into a little bit of the fundamentals, but we're going to primarily focus on charts. So let's get into it. Let's give us our market update here. But before we do that, just a quick shout out to the channel sponsor, us, Black Box Trading. We built a Bitcoin trading bot that will buy the market bottoms and sell the market tops and every macro move in between. It has outperformed the market by nearly 2,000%, meaning that it has outperformed Bitcoin's performance for about 2,000%, historically speaking, with about an 80% hit rate. And we built it. It's free to use. Just use one of our partner exchanges. All we need is an email and a password, and you will never miss a move again. But let's get into the TA. Talking about Bitcoin, we're at a very interesting point in the market, but the fundamentals are really, the biggest fundamental I can point to is just volume. Volume's really low. You can see back here in the bull market how high volume was. And basically, the last time we had a high volume spike was here at the initial capitulation of the market cycle, the initial sell-off. This was basically the bull market top, in my opinion, not the higher high. This was a dead cat bounce. This was the market top. This was the cycle high. This is when all the Bitcoin whales sold and have been doing nothing ever since. Now we're in the accumulation zone. So the important thing is volume. We do not have a lot of retail demand in the market. When we don't have a ton of retail demand, it's very hard to move the price towards a bull market. It takes time. Bull markets take a lot of time. And from a time perspective, when we take a look at the previous market cycles, oh, I lost my drawings. Well, let's just redraw them. Here on the log chart, what I've started to do is look at the market cycle low to all-time high break. Market cycle low to all-time high break. So we're going to grab the 2015 cycle. I'm going to go over to my tools here. Where is it? It's not there. Bars pattern. And we're going to go from the cycle low to the all-time high break. Actually, let's go to the initial capitulation to the all-time high break. So from here until the all-time high break, we can take that and put that over here to the initial. And that lines up with an all-time high break there. Then we're going to go again from this cycle low to the capitulation to the all-time high break right here. We're going to change that to orange, and we're going to move that over to basically here. So you can see we're following quite closely to what's expected. Let's just slide that up a little bit without moving right there. We're tracking quite nicely. We're about 50% of the way through the time preference for getting to that all-time high break. So from a time perspective, we're right on track. There's really nothing to point to otherwise that says that maybe this is a shorter cycle, maybe this is a longer cycle. This is a cycle that's going exactly like it's gone in previous times. So, it's from a time-based perspective, we're doing just fine. But let's get back into the TA over here. I'll erase these drawings right here. And let's look at alpha numerics, our momentum indicator. So the momentum is low. We can see that the wave is red. This is indicating that we're in a low demand market environment. So when the wave is red, we are bearish. When the wave is green, we are bullish. We were bearish from this point here, but we saved capital and got out of position right at around 55, re-entered at around 33, exited again at around 55 again, and we re-entered here on the green diamond at around 18K, 20K. So that 18K is a really important level. let's take a look at the support/resistance flip that we're in this current zone. So this is the bullish case. This is the bullish scenario here. You can see that we've clearly overtaken this level of resistance. As far as the bear market low is, we have gotten above, we've reclaimed this level at around $25,000 and we're trading above it currently. Not only that, but the price actually has a double bottom on top of that support level. So there is a possibility that we rally here, but there's an even stronger resistance that we need to get through, which is this area right here at around 30 grand. And we have not been able to do that. We've attempted it twice and currently trading below it. So this is a much stronger resistance point, in my opinion. If we can get above that 30K level, I think that there's a potential that we get up to the next resistance, which is going to be up at around 50K. You can see this kind of support/resistance area back here. This is a very important level, and that's right at around $49,000 to $45,000 for the price of Bitcoin. So if we can clear 30 on a high time frame candle of the weekly, we could assume that we could see higher levels, because there's really not a lot holding us back beyond that point, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see 50. As it stands here in the short term, I'm bearish, and the bearish momentum is present. We are currently short as far as black box is concerned. Now, I want to clarify something. You have multiple capital buckets. As far as my long-term capital bucket, I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm accumulating Bitcoin. I don't care what the price is. We are in the accumulation zone. Smart institutional players are accumulating. I travel with smart money. I am doing what smart money is doing. I'm buying Bitcoin in the spot markets. As far as the short-term volatility is concerned, I'm bearish. I think that we are going to get a rejection here at this level. This wave represents the 200 average. So we have the 200 weekly average getting a rejection from the 200 week. This is not a great rejection point. The 200 week is a very powerful level. If we go down to the daily as well, it's also in the same level. We're getting a rejection here on the daily as well for the 200 period moving average. So a lot of overhead resistance. A lot of overhead resistance in a market that has very little demand is not the recipe for a continued bull market. So my targets for Bitcoin are going to be down here. I think we could probably get a revisit of the lows here at around $18,000. So in my perfect trade scenario, we would come back down to the 25. We would lose the 25 and capture support at around 1820. Realistically, a wick down to 18 with support, strong high time frame signals on the weekly and above, closing at above $20,000. I think $20,000 is a very clean psychological level. It's also the all-time high from the cycle previous, the cycle back here. That was the level to beat back in the previous cycle. So we can drag that over all the way back here, and you can see that this is a very key, important level. Now, we did get below it before, and there's a possibility we get below it again. But if we're anywhere near that zone, I'm going to be a big, big spot buyer, as well as black box. The trading bot will flip bullish at that point. So that's what I'm looking at on the short term. Now, alts continue to get wrecked. If we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we have been in an uptrend on the Bitcoin dominance chart since 2021. We've been saying for years, months, it's not the time to buy altcoins. The time to buy altcoins is honestly a very short period in time in the market. And the best returns that you're going to see are with assets that were not in the cycle prior. So, if you are a big investor in Solana, if you're a big investor in Matic, if you're a big investor of all of these big, the darling childs of the previous cycle, I don't think they're going to outperform as well as some of the altcoins that are brand new to this cycle or don't even exist yet. We're still in the innovative part of the market cycle where a lot of new projects are coming on, a lot of new innovations have taken place. Most notably, the entire ordinal space is brand new. It hasn't seen a bull market, and there's a lot of interesting developments going on in ordinals that I could see it being really good fuel for the next run. But here on Bitcoin Dominance, it's been an uptrend. We got a little bit of a consolidation on top of this trading range here, and the alphanumerics signal has just flashed a bullish signal, which means that we expect further upside. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we got a move off of this up into the 60% market dominance range for the price of Bitcoin. And you're not going to see alt performance until you get a rejection of that level and create a downtrend. So until there's a downtrend in Bitcoin dominance, it is not a good time to be an altcoin investor. Welcome into the chat. Darius, we going above 30. SMC, the smooth SMC says so. The SMC. What is the SMC? There's a lot of people pointing to reasons why we can continue to go higher. And this is another characteristic of where we are in the market cycle. When you are in a bull market, bullish news pumps price. If you are in a bear market, bullish news does not pump price. If you are in a bull market, bearish news does not make it fall down. And when you are in a bear market, bearish news pushes the price further down. So it's what that tells me as a trader is news doesn't matter. News doesn't matter at all. So news is what retail uses to make decisions. It's not what investors use to make decisions. Investors look at the cold hard facts. If you're a stock investor, you're looking at the fundamentals, you're looking at earnings, you're looking at whether that stock is overvalued or undervalued. And when you're looking at the price cycles of the cryptocurrency market, it's a lot more nuanced because nobody can really price this stuff. It's hard enough to price Bitcoin based off of the fundamentals. So trying to attach fundamentals to the altcoins is usually attached to the performance of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's not ready to roll. We get an even clearer picture of this with the largest market cap altcoin in the market, and that is Ethereum. Ethereum has been forming this distributional trading range for a while, and we've been trapped under this downtrend basically since September of 2022. This downtrend is still intact. It's crystal clear. You are not going to outperform Bitcoin by buying Ethereum until this downtrend breaks. I've been saying for months, we're probably coming down to the 5 million sat mark per Ethereum. And it looks like we're on track to hit that 5 million sat mark for Ethereum before we even get a chance to break this downtrend. Once we break it, we can talk about outperformance, but as it stands right now, it's not looking good for Ethereum in terms of actually being out to outperform Bitcoin. So sorry to the Ethereum fans out there. It's just, these are the facts in the charts. You can't argue with the facts in the charts. Smart money concept. I don't know that indicator. I just keep it simple. Price action, momentum, trading ranges. That's all I need. I don't pay attention to much else. Now, when we look at Ethereum on the dollar pair, it was looking a lot better, honestly. It was looking a lot better. Let's actually turn alphanumerics off for just a moment, because it was creating this this ascending triangle formation up against resistance. That, from a TA perspective, is a very, very clean indicator that we have the bulls showing up to defend support, and we are trending to the upside, getting ready to break that resistance. Most recently, we have just broken below that. So we are losing the support that has been defended for years now, and there's a potential to create some lower lows. So I would be looking at this level right here for the price of Ethereum at around 1560. If we break below on a weekly candle below that level, I would not be surprised at all for us to come down and test the support level kind of down in this area here at around $1,200 to $1,000 for the price of Ethereum. So don't be surprised if you see something like that. SMC is a TA strategy that follows big money. Well, share it in the group. Let's take a look. And if you guys aren't already in the Discord server, check out blackbox.pro, hit the join community tab, and come check it out. Okay, so that's Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair and Ethereum on the dollar pair. Both look bearish in my opinion. Taking a look at the DXY, Dollar is ranging, but it's had a lot of strength recently. If we turn on alpha numerics, we're back to an uptrend expectation for the dollar. I was thinking the dollar was bearish. I think the last time I spoke about the dollar, it was in this descending triangle formation. And we broke below that, and I was like, okay, the dollar's ready to fall. That means risk on for equities. But it had a recovery, and it's actually looking more like a spring than anything as it stands right now. So, it's looking like risk on assets are not in high demand yet again. People are going to safe havens, and people are wanting to preserve their wealth. Speaking of safe havens, no, not the spider, not the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at gold. Huge pump on gold. My God, look at that candle. Look at that 5-day candle or that weekly candle on gold. Big spike up. Now, gold, it's really having to work hard to get through this level. It's a very choppy range. It's been a nightmare to try and trade gold. So shout out to anybody who's been seeing success trading the gold market. But we're up against this big, it's a resistance now because we have a triple top up at this level right at around $2,000. It can't seem to get past that $2,000 level. But if we do continue to see the dollar rallying, you're going to see more and more people wanting to go to these safe haven assets. We have yet another war going on. So you're going to expect, we need to expect volatility in the market. Let's take a look at the S&P. Taking a look at the S&P on the daily, we did come down to our support / resistance level. Actually got a buy signal here. Or no, we ignore this buy signal because the wave is red. But we did flash a green diamond here on this support level. So it's a very key level of support. If you are a S&P bull, if you are a traditional financial market bull, then you definitely want to see this level defended. If we can't support this level, I think we're going to come back down to the kind of 348 level here for the spider. Same sort of story here on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's kind of in open air. It's not sitting on the same level, so its resiliency is actually a little bit higher. You do see increased volatility on the NASDAQ. When the S&P is doing well, the NASDAQ's doing better. When the S&P is doing bad, the NASDAQ's doing much worse. So, traditional finance, we're at a pivot. We're at a pivot point. This does look like a bull flag formation. If it rallies out, then that would be a good thing to see, and that will correlate with a decline in the DXY. But with the DXY on a rally and a lot of uncertainty on the geopolitical stage, I wouldn't be surprised to see this get a turnaround and continue this local downtrend to the downside. Yes, gold reached its mitigation region where big money mitigates their orders used to sell to buy. Gotcha. All right, so now let's get into some shitcoins. If there's anybody that wants to spam some tickers for the shitcoin space, we can take a look at the shitcoins on a case-by-case basis. I do maintain the thought that we do have a lot more time ahead of us as far as the altcoin space. And you can see, look at Cardano, just match the previous cycle. So why don't we go from this little blip here, this dead cat fake rally off of a support level, and match that up with what we saw here and just get a time expectation, a time-based expectation. It's a lot of people underestimate the power of a time-based expectation. If you can map out what's happened in the past to what could potentially happen in the future, obviously the past performance doesn't indicate future results, but it can kind of give you a bigger picture as far as expectations. A lot of people get sucked into the cryptocurrency market because it's a fast-paced market. You're seeing gains, you're seeing this, everything's happening so quickly and the price is moving very quickly. And then we get into the bear market and things slow down to a crawl big time. So it's good to have this anchoring bias of time so that you can manage your expectations. The richest people, the people that make the best trades in the market, make it in the bear market, and they buy and they chill because they know it takes years to develop. It's, you don't trade every single day. You make well calculated decisions on portfolio allocation at strategic points in the market, and then you allow those to mature. It takes time. So let's take a time-based let's take a time-based measurement here. And we'll go from here over to when it starts to rally. Why don't we do that? We'll do it from when it starts to rally. And we'll take that measurement right here. We'll drag that down to where we are here. And you can see two things. We're in the accumulation zone. We're at the bottom. And we have several months ahead of us. So if you're buying Cardano at these prices, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. I just think that it's important for you to manage your expectations. And if you're looking to outperform Bitcoin, yes, you might outperform Bitcoin over the long term, in 2024, 2025, but you can't expect to outperform Bitcoin in 2023 and maybe the first 2 quarters of 2024, because what we're seeing is Bitcoin is getting stronger and the alts are getting weaker. So if you want to position into Cardano, that's okay. Just don't be upset when you see that the price action that you're getting to go along with that is actually a decline. So it's going to continue to fall. Especially in Satoshi terms. You're going to lose the purchasing power in Satoshi terms. But based off of this, we would be looking at probably, another 392 days. So just over a year, another year before you get real positive price action in the price of Cardano. Now let's do the time. Let's get rid of the time and let's just take a look at the local range here. We have a few key resistance points that we need to get above. As you can see, Alphanumetrics and Black Box is saying that we are bearish. There's not enough momentum. You should be short. If anything, I wouldn't personally be short at these levels. It would have been nice to short into this, but I wouldn't be short here because we're so close to the support. But the indicator is bearish. We are below all of our moving averages. We're below the 7, we're below the 30, we're below the 50. We are below the previous breakout range, the breakout area of the previous cycle. You could see we hit the all-time, or not the all-time high. We hit this area of resistance and then really went wild after that. We are below that level, and we're also below this downward sloping line of resistance. So it's below, until you can get above some of these key metrics, until you can break above the moving averages, until you can break above the downtrend and change the trend. The assumption is flat or down. That's it. Binance. Oh man, I feel like a conspiracy theorist when I look at this chart, because I find myself trying to predict the reason that this chart falls. This chart looks like fucking shit. This chart looks terrible. It is a fixed market. This is a manipulated market, and it's getting harder and harder to hold this price up. I anticipate that if this support level at $183 for the price of BNB, if $183 is lost, it is going to $40. It is going to $48. If 183 is broken with a weekly candle close, it's going to $48. It's just, and then I try to predict, okay, well, what would be the narrative to go along with that? CZ getting arrested, Binance going down, KYC requirements too stringent for Binance, customers are, customer funds are seized. I don't know. All I know is this chart looks terrible. And if we have some sort of liquidity event that gets us below 183, there's going to be a big dramatic reason for that to happen. And a lot of people are going to get fucking wrecked. If you're holding large amounts of crypto on Binance, I recommend that you get it off. Not because it's on Binance, but you shouldn't have a large amount of crypto on an exchange. If you are not actively trading, or if you are not actively in a trade, you should not have funds there. When you want to trade, you take money from your wallet, you bring it to the exchange, and then you put it into the trade that you want to be in. When that trade is done, you take that money off of the exchange and you put it in a wallet that you control. Okay? If you're sitting with a lot of dormant funds, if you're sitting with a large amount of stable coins, or you're sitting on bullshit yield projects on Binance or any exchange, I highly recommend you get that off, because it is not your crypto, not your keys, not your coins, not your keys, not your coins. You hear the whole market talk about this, and it's true, okay? Use the capital. I'm not saying don't use exchanges because that would be silly. The decentralized exchanges aren't as good as centralized exchanges. Period. End of story. It's just a fact. The user experience on a centralized exchange is way better than the user experience on a decentralized exchange. So it's foolish for me to sit here and say don't use centralized exchanges. But you need to be smart because that's not your crypto. When those funds are on that exchange, it's not yours. It's as good as gone. And we've seen historically a lot of people lose a lot of money that way, myself included. Okay, Bitcoin Cash. So we got a green signal here on Bitcoin Cash. We got a buy signal. Let's go down to the daily. Basically, when we popped above this level back in June, we flipped this to a bullish stance. This is one of the very few coins that actually has a bullish posture right now. I do think that this backup phase, this backup consolidation, will trade sideways for a few months, maybe, further into, Q1 or Q2 of 2024. But this is one that looks good. And for me, it's an interesting project because Bitcoin Cash is all about the transaction speed. It's all about transaction affordability. It's about bringing crypto to the masses. And from a payment system point of view, Bitcoin Cash does make a better payment system on the main chain. Bitcoin's not about main chain. And, that's a rabbit hole that I'm not willing to go down right now. But because I have such a firm stance on ordinals being successful in the coming run, I also have to maintain a hard stance that there are going to be countless narratives for better and faster blockchains. And when transactions are more than $50 to do a Bitcoin transaction on the main chain, you better fucking believe that there's going to be a very loud cohort of people who are talking about why Bitcoin Cash is better than Bitcoin, and a lot of people are going to believe them, okay? So that's going to cause the price to move. So do keep Bitcoin Cash on your watch list. In the previous cycle, Bitcoin Cash was not a huge, it didn't have a massive run. This isn't even the full history of Bitcoin. Yeah, we don't have the 2017 cycle, so it's missing. Let me try and find it. BCH. Let's try and find a longer chart here. Let's go with Kraken. BTC USD on Coinbase. Does Coinbase have it? Yeah, we got a lot more history here on Coinbase. Let's go to the weekly chart. And this is in US dollar terms. So you can see that Bitcoin Cash is in a downtrend cycle to cycle, okay? So it had its all-time high here of $4,300, and that was right after the fork. That was right after Bitcoin Cash forked off of Bitcoin. It reached that all-time high, and it's been in a downtrend ever since. It didn't even make it 50% of its retracement. Let's actually do a fib here. It didn't even make it to the 50% fib. It barely made it to the 0.382 in its previous cycle. Now, I think because of ordinals, we're going to actually see it break its previous high, and that's going to feed the narrative. So we're going to break past 1,640 here for Bitcoin Cash. That's my prediction for the next cycle. 1,642, we're going to blow right past that on the next cycle. Because of the narratives that what we're going to see with Bitcoin is too expensive. Bitcoin's too expensive, blah, 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 blah. Bitcoin is too slow. It only does 7 transactions per second, blah, 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 blah. All this bullshit that doesn't matter is going to be front and center in the right market environment. So keep Bitcoin Cash on your watch list. You could even do Satoshi's Vision if you can fucking buy it anywhere. I think it's delisted everywhere. All right, moving on to Doge, another one that is fundamentally quite strong. A lot of people now, when I say it's fundamentally strong, I don't mean that it is fundamentally useful for the world, because Bitcoin does what any proof of work blockchain is trying to do better. But people have this unit bias, right? They don't want to buy Bitcoin because it's 30 grand. They don't want to buy Bitcoin because it's 20 grand. They don't want to buy Bitcoin because it's $1 million. They're focused on this unit bias, which is a real thing. You know, I don't discount it. That's why shit coins like meme coins do so well, because the supply is so great. People can buy millions of these things. And Dogecoin's good. What I like about Dogecoin is it's neutral. The problem with all these other projects is they're venture capital fucking scams, right? Like you have a marketing team that goes in, comes up with a bright idea, they launch a token, they market their shit token to a bunch of fucking people who don't understand blockchain, and the price goes up. They make their money, they get out, it flatlines and dies. Doge is actually different because Doge actually is mined. Doge doesn't have a VC backing. It kind of has the same sort of birth as Bitcoin in the sense that not a lot of people took it very seriously when it first came out. And it's been trucking along for years and years and years. So the neutrality of Doge is actually a good thing. And I think that we will see Doge, perform well in cycles coming up. But do I think it's a good project to invest in? No, it's a good speculation play. It's a fantastic coin to buy in the context of a bull market. When Bitcoin is past its halving and past its all-time high, it's going to be a good buy. But as it stands right now, the indicator's bearish. We're not looking to buy Dogecoin. I would love to see, like we covered on Shitcoin Bingo, if we get a green diamond on the weekly, then that will be a good opportunity to buy. And when these green diamonds start showing up, you better believe that Matt and I are going to be pumping out content, because we don't put content out all the time. I don't want to repeat myself over and over and over again about the same things. And in the bear market, things move slow. As the market progresses, I will be here to keep you up to date to every major move in the market cycle. So don't forget to follow on Twitch and subscribe, or don't. Fend for yourself. It's fine. I've only been doing this for 7 years. Okay, so moving on from Doge, we got Hex. Hex is an interesting one. I'm probably going to take a punt at Hex soon, especially if we get a green diamond on the weekly, which has never happened in the Hex chart. Full disclosure, Hex is a scam. It's 100% a scam. If you don't believe that it is a scam, you have been scammed. But that being said, it is an immutable, permissionless smart contract protocol on the Ethereum blockchain that will continue to tick as long as people are willing to trade it. So you can't censor the smart contract. You can't censor the fact that people can buy and sell from that liquidity pool. And for that reason, I think enough stupid people would get tricked into this scam again that we could see price advances. It's pretty fucking flatlined right now. Let's actually go down to the daily chart. And if I didn't make it clear, I'm not endorsing this as an investment, just a pure speculation play. I wouldn't be putting more than 1%, no more than 1% of your trading portfolio to an asset like this. But it's pretty flatlined. And I think that, with Pulse Chain and all the bullshit that the Richard Hart cult is parroting to one another, they're going to onboard people. And when we're in the context of an uptrend, it's much easier to convince your friends and family to gain exposure to this stuff than it is that, hey, get into Hex. Oh, what's the price at? Well, it's down like 99.999%, but you should buy now. Like, you just can't convince people. It's only when it's in an uptrend that you can convince people to get into these projects. All right. Tariq Yazid Diab, keep up the good work. Thank you. Free Diz, think Hex will pump on ETH with all the hexagons on Pulse now? Yes, I do. Because there's going to be arbitrage between the two chains. Right now, you can't bridge over to Pulse Chain, but eventually there will be a bridge. And wherever there's a bridge, there's arbitrage opportunity. So if P Hex is at a higher price than E Hex, people are going to sell their P Hex for E Hex, and it's going to equalize the price. Just like with every cross chain, like Ethereum is the same price as Ethereum on the Ethereum network as it is on the Avalanche network. It's the same price as it is on the Matic network. And anytime that there's a price discrepancy with Ethereum on Avalanche, people who have ETH on Avalanche are going to sell it onto ETH and equalize the price. There's always going to be arbitrage opportunities. As soon as that bridge is built, then there will always be demand for EHEX. Just no bridge yet. All right, that's enough about that scam coin. Litecoin. So here's another example of what I was talking about with Bitcoin Cash. Litecoin can do everything that Bitcoin can. Okay, and it does it faster and cheaper. That's going to be a narrative. You're going to see that narrative, especially when ordinals really take off on the Bitcoin network. You're going to be like, why do ordinals on Bitcoin when you can do ordinals on Litecoin and it's cheaper and faster? And all the dumb people who don't understand the principles of hard money are going to be like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I don't want to pay a bunch of money for fucking Bitcoin and do this. I want to pay $2 for my NFTs, or I want to pay $2 for DeFi. And they're going to go to Litecoin. So let's zoom out here. We were in a Litecoin trade. We were in it for a long fucking time. I paid a lot of funding on that stupid position. But hey, you know, that's trading. We got stopped out of that. So we're looking like a potential double bottom formation here for Litecoin. So, you know, something like this, one bottom, two bottom accumulation, two bottom Wyckoff accumulation. So watch out for that. You know, if we get a green diamond here, we'll be looking to buy, we'll be looking to take a position, because any of these proof of work chains are going to be in direct competition with Bitcoin, which I think is going to be a very, very big deal in this coming cycle. I think Bitcoin's price was stifled in the previous cycle. And in this next cycle, I think we have big potential for a really large price advance based off of the fundamentals of what ordinals are doing to Bitcoin. And I don't just mean adding functionality to Bitcoin. Ordinals are basically burning sats. You are taking Satoshis and you are inscribing them and giving them a different value. That's the same as taking them out of the supply entirely. We're burning Bitcoin. You know, a lot of people haven't woken up to this yet. Exchanges have no fucking Bitcoin. There's like 10% of the available supply even up for grabs at all. Most Bitcoin is just locked in a hardware wallet and you cannot buy it. And then you have ordinals for all of the available Bitcoin is now becoming less available because people are taking sats and they're giving those sats a different purpose. So it's being burnt, essentially. So huge supply crunch on Bitcoin, and people haven't woken up to this yet. Clean macro view. Thank you. I try to keep, you know, the biggest moves happen on the macro. Biggest moves happen on the macro. You got to have a clear picture. If you're going to trade this market and you are going to outperform this market, you have to have a real sound, you have to have a handle on what's going on in the macro. And there's basically 4 different parts of a price cycle. There is the flat bear market that does nothing. That's what we're in right now. Then you have the gentle uptrend. That's what we are going to go into the halving and after the halving. Then you have the all-time high break acceleration. That's the part that gets everybody into the market. And then you have the downtrend. After the whales have sold the top, it creates the downtrend bear market. So you have a downtrend bear market, you have a flat bear market, you have a slightly up bull market, and then you have a price acceleration bull market. So it's half bull, half bear. And we're getting through the flat stage. We're almost at the end of the flat. We are almost in that clean up only environment. So Litecoin, just like Bitcoin Cash, structurally speaking, we're looking at a double bottom. It's not going to be the same setup for Bitcoin Cash, but it's going to be the same narrative. So don't fade Litecoin. I think it'll have its good place in the market moving forwards. Solana. Do we need Solana anymore? I mean, honestly, like Solana's just fucking garbage. Does anybody actually trade Solana? Do you guys have Solana? Are you doing anything on Solana? I don't even know. Chat, you doing shit on Solana? Below the EMAs, just crossed above. Let's actually zoom in here on the weekly. So we are above the 7 and we are above the 30. We have not closed above the 50, but we could potentially close above the 50. Still some very big resistance here that was set from the previous kind of lows right here. Kind of say that that's the resistance. As long as we're below $31, I don't think we'll call it 30. As long as we're below, below 30, I don't see a reason to jump into Solana in the short term. Preserve your wealth. Preserve your wealth. Have your wealth in stablecoins. Or if you really want exposure, have your exposure through Bitcoin. you don't have to deploy into an altcoin right away. You can deploy into Bitcoin. And then when the market proves to you that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, then take those Bitcoin and put it into altcoins. Don't have cash and then go into an altcoin when we're in a Bitcoin bear market. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Stop it. You're going to have a bad time. Go USD into Bitcoin if you really want exposure. And then when the market proves to you we're outperforming, then allocate into altcoins. Who uses Solana? I don't know, Mandy. I don't know. Gangster coin. Is that a real thing? Is there a ticker to go with that? XRP. The XRP army is loud and proud, and they do what every fucking Bitcoin. Like, if you hold XRP, cool. All right. I might say some things that might piss you off. I might say some things that make you happy. But the claims to fame, the biggest claim to fame that XRP does is cross-border remittance. That's quite literally every single fucking crypto coin. There's 23,000 of them, 23,000 different ones, 23,000 different coins you can send from one wallet to another, and it doesn't get interrupted if there's a border involved. Every single fucking coin does cross-border remittance. Why do the XRP folk get so hung up on cross-border remittance and bank CBDCs? I mean, it can go up. Sure, it can go up. We haven't figured out what blockchain truly is and why blockchain is valuable. Society as a whole, they don't understand that it's neutral money. So because they don't understand that it's neutral money, they're willing to hand over this stuff to the bank and be like, hey, if the banks are in, I'm in. And it's kind of sad, the lack of understanding for the potential of this technology. But anyways, let's get into the TA. I don't want to, we're looking at the same sort of thing as Litecoin. Okay, so I'm looking at kind of a double bottom formation here with XRP. So we've come down, we've got our first bottom, we came out of the trading range, and we're likely going to come down for our another bottom before we get another move up. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. So we're looking at, lower levels is what I'm assuming. We've got a bearish signal here. We just had a bearish cross here on the weekly. We also have the wave turning red. The wave has been red for a while. It assumes that further downside is coming. And yeah, we're just not quite ready for XRP. That being said, when XRP is in an uptrend, it's going to be the same sort of effect as Doge. it's the unit bias. People want to buy cheap coins. So they're going to buy XRP because it's only a few dollars per coin. Until Bitcoin starts getting denominated in sats, which will come, that day will come. We will stop saying the price of Bitcoin and we will start saying the price of sats. When Bitcoin gets to 100,000 or $1 million, people aren't going to be pricing in Bitcoin. They're going to be pricing in sats. And when that day comes, we're going to have the unit bias for Bitcoin is going to be gone. And we could see much, much higher levels. So I have this mapped out as a Wyckoff accumulation. I do have a sign of strength move. This sign of strength is not looking very strong. So I'm just going to change this to an up thrust. Let's make it black. So we're going to classify this as an up thrust. If we can hold this level at around 45 cents, then it'll potentially break out. But realistically, from where I think we are in the price cycle and where I think we are moving forwards with the price of Bitcoin, it wouldn't be far-fetched at all to see a revisit of the lows. And you'll have another opportunity to accumulate at around 30 cents for the price of XRP. FTX. Solana is a joke. Sorry if it came across wrong. No. True, always first jump in Bitcoin. Yep. Bitcoin gives you the exposure. Sometimes you have an itch. It's like, I got to buy something. Just buy Bitcoin. When Bitcoin dominance starts to fall, now you can look at other altcoins because you haven't lost anything. By the time altcoins actually begin to outperform Bitcoin, Bitcoin is up. So you can ride Bitcoin up, and then only when the altcoins start to pass Bitcoin, then you get into the altcoins. And the altcoins will help carry your profits for Bitcoin. But you open up a whole bunch of risk when you get into altcoins. Protocol risk, venture capital risk, a whole bunch of bullshit can come along with altcoins that doesn't exist with Bitcoin. All right, so that's XRP. Is that it? That's it. That's all on my list. All right. So, Andy, I don't know if you're asking me to look at FTX or what you're asking, but you got an FTX comment there. What are some other? Let's take a look at shitcoin bingo's list. AVAX. All right, let's take a look at AVAX. For all the bear den folks. All right. So AVAX, it looks a lot like Cardano. It's actually very, very similar to Cardano. The structure and everything. Very cool. So we're in a downtrend. We're below the moving averages. We have this downtrend, downward sloping line of resistance. Basically, until we can get above this downward sloping line of resistance, we need to assume lower levels in Avalanche. If it gets a capitulation, which I'm not sure that it would, but if it did, you'd be looking at probably around this price. Let's say Bitcoin just shits the bed. You'd be looking at $7 for the price of Avalanche. Currently trading at 950. So we're so close to the bottom. Like, you know, you're tripping over pennies or tripping over dollars to pick up cents. It's really, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You're in the accumulation zone. If you're an AVAX bull, put it on the watch list. And when AVAX begins to outperform Bitcoin, so let's actually go to AVAX BTC. When you see an uptrend in AVAX BTC, that's when you convert your Bitcoin into Avalanche. Only when you see an uptrend in AVAX BTC. Stop looking at the US dollar. Stop it. If you want to know what the price of AVAX is in US dollars, cool. Go and look at the price. But your investment decision, your trading decision, it needs to outperform Bitcoin. If it's not doing better than Bitcoin, then why hold it? There's no reason to hold it. If it's not outperforming Bitcoin, just fucking chill. You're making money with Bitcoin. Who cares? You're making money. You're making money with Bitcoin. Only when it starts to outperform, we'll be like, okay, it's time. And you go in. H-bar. What's up with H-bar? Why does everybody fucking love H-bar? Genuine question. I don't know why people love H-bar so much. It really didn't have much of a bull market. Like it's a very short period of time where it was bullish, but I hear H-bar all the fucking time. It was only bullish for 315 days, but people talk about it like it's been around, you know, like it's created incredible gains. And its bull market from the breakout, its all-time high was only 1,300%. But comparative to other altcoins, usually when you hear so many people asking about a coin, it's because it's had monumental gains. H-bar hasn't, and it hasn't had gains in a very long period of time, but I constantly hear about it. So there must be something going on with the fundamentals. There has to be something that's really... Okay, so Raged Yeti thinks it's a clean narrative. So enlighten me as to what that clean narrative is, because I'm unfamiliar. But a narrative is very powerful. So H-bar, it's looking like it's halfway. It's halfway through its accumulation. It's looking like it's halfway through its accumulation. It's underperforming a lot of assets. It's looking very similar to Cardano. It's looking very similar to Litecoin. It's looking very similar to Solana. It's trapped underneath this kind of macro resistance back here where the initial pop kind of concluded before it heated up a bit. We're below that. We're below the moving averages. We're below a downtrend. So it's the same story. So until we can get above the averages, until we can get above the downtrend, until we can get above that resistance level, it's not going to be outperforming Bitcoin. So just chill in Bitcoin for now. Can AXS and SLP come back to better prices? They can come back to better prices, but we're not going to see the same thing. So let's take a look at Axie Infinity, AXS. I don't think that we're going to have another Axie cycle. Axie Infinity was a mania, okay? I don't think we're going to see another Axie-like mania with Axie. There might be another mania with a new game that does, that gets similar attention, but we're not going to see what we saw on Axie again on Axie. Same thing with CryptoKitties, right? CryptoKitties was the first one. We saw an incredible bullish cycle on CryptoKitties, and then you never heard of them again. It didn't mean that the price of CryptoKitties didn't move, because there was cycles in the price of CryptoKitties. You just never heard about it. You never got another mania. So I anticipate the same. It looks like Cardano. It looks like a lot of the coins that we just mentioned. Let's take a look at SLP, which has infinite supply. It's going to be much more down only. SLP is completely fucking flatlined. Until Axie Infinity, I think Axie's dead. I think Axie. I would love to see it come back, because I got a whole stable. I had, I think at the all-time high of Axie, I had 50 teams. That's 50 teams, and a lot of those teams had 10 Axies. So I have a shit ton of fucking Axies. I would love to see Axie Infinity come back, but I'm not holding my breath. I am not holding my breath at all. I think it was a fun project while it lasted. And it was really nice to help out a lot of the scholars that were struggling during COVID times, but I don't think we're going to see that again. Higher, yes. Everything goes up in a bull market. How high it goes, no clue. And will it outperform a lot of the other coins? No clue. But will it go to higher prices? Yes. A lot of big names on their website for governing / council partners, Google, Dell, IBM, etc. Just could be marketing BS. You got to watch out for partnerships, because, you know, in crypto, there was a funny meme that kind of summed it up. It was like FTX fucking, partners with McDonald's. And in reality, it was just the staff going to McDonald's and buying burgers for everybody. Our new partnership, we get lunch from McDonald's. Dig deeper, okay? A lot of people hear, oh, partnership with IBM. What does that mean? What is the partnership? What is IBM giving to HBAR? What is HBAR giving to IBM? Is it actually a partnership, or is HBAR running its data servers on an IBM server? In which case, anybody can do that. It doesn't matter, So do watch out for the word partnership, because it can be a tricky marketing ploy. So dig deeper. If you really want to make a financial decision based off of the based off of the fundamentals of that project, then dig into what the partnership actually means. You hear partnership all the time in the XRP community as well, where we have a partnership with this bank. That it can mean nothing. It can mean substantial stuff as well, but it can also mean nothing. So look it up. All right, so that's SLP. Is there a way to chart Axies themselves? What are the price of Axies? Forget it. I don't care. All right, so I think we'll close things out there. It's been about an hour. So yeah, before getting out here, if you guys are interested, we have a free Bitcoin trading bot. It's free to use. It's for you guys. We've been teaching the alphanumerics strategy for many, many years, and a lot of people have benefited from learning this strategy. But a lot of people don't listen to the strategy as well, because it's such a long time preference trading strategy that a lot of people either forget, or they get bored, or they move on to something else and they try something else. This is what pushed us to automate alphanumerics. This is what pushed us to create the trading bot in the first place, is because we understand that people get bored with the strategy. They want action. They want to press buttons. They want to do this. They want to do that. We get it. So we created the bot so you could set it and forget it. How great would it be if you had alphanumerics and you forget about the signals of alphanumerics all the time? How great is it if it didn't matter? You just put it to the side. Forget about alphanumerics. Who gives a fuck? You don't need to worry about it, because Blackbox is trading alphanumerics for you. This is why we built it. Like I said, it's free. You have to set it up with a partner exchange, put a couple grand in it, see what it does. Everybody's portfolio is different. Allocate accordingly based off of your portfolio size. That might be a much smaller number, and give it a shot. It's something that Matt and I have built that we're very, very proud of. And we want people to have success. And this is what we built. But it's hard to sell shit in a bear market. People have lost a lot of trust. I understand that. That's very acceptable behavior as it currently is right now. But go ahead, check it out, join the community, ask questions. We're very transparent. We don't hide anything. We know, we're giving it all for you for free, and we want you guys to enjoy the product. So that's it. Thank you for joining into the stream. And if you would like to follow me on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, go check out my YouTube channel where I do post tutorials. The live streams are always going to be here on Twitch and YouTube, but I do post other content on YouTube as well that doesn't make it over to Twitch. So thank you all for joining in, and please trade safe. It is a jungle out there. Enjoy yourselves, everyone.
Thank you.